Poland will donate all MiG-29s to the U.S., presumably for Ukraine. It wants other NATO allies with MiGs to do the same. Warsaw requests the U.S. to provide used aircraft with corresponding operational capabilities. Okay, so the logistical hurdle for the United States, there's a couple different problems here. One, how do you bring those fucking MiGs into Ukraine? Are you going to fly them? Because then if they get shot down, you're in fucking war with a NATO nation. Will Putin consider this an act of war by Poland? Does this mean this is an act of war between Poland and Russia? You know, you can transport aircrafts on land. No, I do know. Are they actually going to send the aircraft via train? So those are two logistical hurdles to overcome. The reason why they're giving them to the United States is because the United States then also has to figure out how to re-up the Polish Air Force so they can feel protected and safe in the middle of a war that is going on at their doorstep. Here's the MSNBC vid on the Polish MiGs. Okay, we'll take a look at this right now. Obviously, some of you won't be taking a look at this because you'll be taking a look at the top of the hour ad break.
To Ramstein Air Base is NBC News' Dan DeLuce in Washington. Excuse me. Dan, what can you tell us?
Well, this is very significant news. I think this is going to be very much welcome in Ukraine and by Kyiv. Poland has issued a statement saying they're ready to donate free of charge all of their MiG-29 fighter jets to Poland, and that they await replacement aircraft from the United States and NATO allies. And they said that the planes would be sent to Ramstein Air Force Base in Germany. Now, why they're doing that, it might be, we don't know yet. It may be they just simply...
What do you mean, why are they doing that? They're doing that so that America is the one who's handling the logistics, because America is the one who has to re-up the Polish Air Force. They're going to the daddy. They're going to Big Daddy, okay? They're going to Big Daddy America, who will allow Ukraine to have those fighter jets.
Simply don't want to have a potential target in Poland. But it is, it has been something that was under discussion. There have been a lot of conflicting reports. It came up more than a week ago. It seemed to go back and forth. It got confusing at times. But over the weekend, the White House and Secretary of...
Like, look at this. I want you to look at this picture, okay? Because this is the non-TOS version of what you can see, at the very least, okay? I want you to look at this picture. And I want you to understand, like, this is going to get so much fucking worse. Americans will very easily say, oh, look, I love Ukrainians fighting back. It's fucking sick. It's fucking sick. Keep fighting. We're with you. Like, it's great. Come on. We're with you. Like, let's go, Ukraine, you know? But, and then they will openly state that this is going to be Afghanistan for Russia. But then they never think about what Afghanistan means for the, you know, Afghan citizens, or rather the Ukrainian citizens in this circumstance that are stuck.
State Antony Blinken confirmed this was something they were discussing with Poland, that Ukraine has asked this, or made an urgent appeal. President Zelensky speaking to lawmakers on Saturday, and this was his top request. You know, Ukrainian pilots are trained to fly these kind of Soviet-era planes. They do already have these planes. They want more of them. And you saw this bipartisan endorsement, you know, writing letters to the White House saying, get these planes to Ukraine. And Poland's request was that they get a replacement for these MiGs that they're going to be giving to Ukraine, and they wanted U.S.-made F-16. So it looks like that must have been figured out now. So that's what we have.
Dan, let's bring in our colleague, Courtney Kuby, our Pentagon correspondent. So, Courtney, what more can you tell us about what's going to happen now?
Okay, so I think we need to look at what this announcement is and what it is.
Don't you think it's a bit patronizing of you to assume that they don't want it and don't choose it over the looming occupation? Are you telling me that, like, it's better off? I don't care in this situation. I'm telling you, they're worse off overall. I get why they want it. I get why they want to fucking fight back. It's totally understandable to want to fight back. But that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about currently is what is happening and what will continue to happen. Why didn't the Afghans just leave, right? Dog, what the fuck do you mean? I'm not saying leave. If it wasn't for Ukraine, If it wasn't for United States involvement that predates Operation Cyclone, the Mujahideen would not have had the arms to be able to push back the USSR forces. And without United States involvement and the USSR forces consistently trying to fucking fight on two different fronts. One, the same fucking leadership that was purging communists while also simultaneously demanding help from the USSR. And two, trying to fight back against the Mujahideen forces. There could have been a way more amicable solution with a USSR puppet installed in Afghanistan at the time. Perhaps a much more favorable point. Afghanistan could look very different right now. It could look like the fucking 60s. Zbigniew Brzezinski.
20 months time flies hassle.
Okay? A Polish-American diplomat who openly fucking talked about how pumping guns into the Mujahideen and getting them to rile up against the USSR involvement in Afghanistan was an incredible way to turn Afghanistan into Russia's own Vietnam, USSR's own Vietnam. It was a grand policy proposal. It was an incredible chess move that he openly flexed on. I keep seeing people comparing Afghans and Ukrainians, saying that Afghans were cowards for not fighting the Taliban. Dude, that is so disgusting, dude. Those very same people who say Afghans were cowards for not fighting the Taliban are the same fat little piglet pork eating dickheads that live all around the stupid country. They're riddled with cancerous tumors all around their fucking bodies from eating microplastics on a daily fucking basis and having a steady diet of high fructose corn syrup. And they sit around with their diabetic asses, okay, running around and talking about how devastating it is when they can't get $5 jalapeno poppers at Applebee's anymore. And now it's $6 jalapeno poppers at Applebee's. And then they turn around and talk about the fucking bravery of the Afghan people. I am disgusted with this kind of attitude that Americans have. It is so nasty. They have never understood the sacrifice. They've never understood what it's like to live constantly with a threatening government over their head. They've never understood what it's like to have to forcibly choose when you're stuck between a rock and a fucking hard place.
2020 election.
Those disgusting piglet cried about putting a mask on for the duration of the COVID pandemic. They cried about getting vaccinated. You're really going to tell me that those motherfuckers know what sacrifice and bravery means? Sacrifice and bravery for them
months of is
just, saluting a veteran when they see one, okay? And venerating veterans, but not giving a single fuck about them when it comes to their healthcare needs, okay? Americans have never had to understand what sacrifice and bravery is because we are removed from the consequences of the world events that we dictate.
It's not. First off, this is Poland saying that they are ready to provide these MiG-29s to send them to...
U.S. hate rent-free in your head, lol. I live here. I don't know if you know that. It is rent-free. I'm an American.
Ramstein Air Force Base in Germany, as Dan was just saying. But they're also calling on the U.S. to provide them, to backfill them with appropriate aircraft, fighter jets that would have similar capabilities. Everyone's been talking about the F-16s. Just because Poland made this announcement does not mean that the U.S. has some number of F-16s sitting around that they can immediately provide to Poland. So that's the first hang-up to this. The second one Dan was just touching on, and that is, why would Poland fly these aircraft from Poland, right next door in Ukraine, all the way to Germany, to Ramstein, and turn them over to the United States for the U.S. then to provide Ukraine? Officials who I'm talking to don't know the answer to that.
What do you mean?
A defense official who I asked right after this announcement was made.
It's obvious. One fucking nice little re-up on jets. They're not going to give them to Ukraine and then not get new jets. And two, they can't directly deliver it to Ukraine because Big Daddy America has to do that because there are significant repercussions that they would suffer from if they were to give it directly to Ukraine. It would involve Poland in the war, and that's terrifying for the Polish people who understand they don't want to fucking go to war with Russia.
I said, what's going on here? Has this been made? And all they're saying so far here at the Pentagon is, we don't have anything. We're looking into this announcement. We don't have anything more.
My argument, when Russia takes over Ukraine with the least number of casualties, called an invasion. But when U.S. does it with Yemen, Syria, and many more with thousands of innocent civilian casualties, it's called liberation democracy. No, both of those are morally abhorrent, horrifying, violent, bloody battles, and they're completely unacceptable. And I yell about America when they claim that they are doing liberation and democracy. It's a laughable notion. But, you know, it's the same with fucking Russia right now.
For you on it, but I should
It's
say
not a hot take, it's a cold take. The hilarious part about this, though, is that like liberals literally think the blood of Ukrainians in Russian hands is a good opportunity for them to wash their own blood, prior war crime admissions and advocacy. And it's psychotic to me.
as of yesterday, when we were asking the question about the possibility of the U.S. providing aircraft to Poland, we were told repeatedly, our colleagues Carol Lee and Peter Alexander and I were told repeatedly from a number of different officials in the Biden administration that it was a long shot that the U.S. would actually go forward with this. So again, as of now, this is Poland saying they are ready to send these jets, but there is no sense yet that the U.S. has the ability to backfill. As far as the logistics of this, though, Katie, yes, the MiGs, they could go. The U.S. doesn't have any MiGs, but theoretically, the U.S. could maintain them and could help them at Ramstein. But, I mean, that's the only, that's the only thing we really know at this point.
It is really odd, as you point out, to send them to Germany to go back to Ukraine when Poland is right next to Ukraine, and there are shipments going back and forth between the...
Dude, are these people crazy? Are they crazy? Dude, it's obvious why they're doing that. I don't understand why they're... What do you mean? They don't want to involve themselves directly in war, dude. You're acting like Putin won't find out? Dude, it's just an additional barrier of safety that they want to add on, okay?
Every month the world gets
it's an
worse,
additional layer of safety and security to say, hey, look, we're giving them to NATO. We're giving them to the United States. They can do whatever they want. That's it. They have to feign ignorance of the plausible deniability. The Watcher of Hasan, but didn't the U.S. funding the Mujahideen turn out all right? I mean, it crippled and led to the dissolution of the biggest enemy, and the blowback was less than 10K dead Americans. This is not a message of support. Dude, did you just say America's war on terror plus 9/11 as blowback was just, worth it to take down the USSR? Are you serious? Like, you think 9/11 was acceptable? Like, what the fuck? Or that's what people think my take is about 9/11, but like, what's up? You're like straight up saying it. Like, oh, no, it's cool. 9/11 is fine because, the USSR went down. I don't think it's a good gamble.
In those two countries of other arms. Tell me right now where Ukraine stands on its air fight against Russia. Russia has not yet dominated the skies over Ukraine. So what would it mean for Ukraine to get these jets?
So
wasn't 9/11 faked? No, dude, what the fuck? What the fuck? Yo! Yeah, dude, those people didn't die, actually. They're not real.
It's still a very contested airspace, but the reality is much of the air, Russia has more, it's tipped more in Russia's favor than in Ukraine. That being said, the Ukrainian Air Force still has the ability to fly. They still do not have, Russia is not dominating them. But both sides, the Russian Air Force and the Ukrainian Air Force, frankly, aren't flying a whole lot of their manned aircraft right now. The majority of the stuff that's in the sky...
Boys, the only reason why I know 9/11 was real because I was in the rooftop in New Jersey. You know what I'm saying?
Right now, it's missiles, it's artillery. There isn't a whole lot of manned aircraft flying, and that's because it is such a contested airspace. So that begs the question...
Listen, I'm Muslim. I can make that joke, okay? Shut the fuck up. That's more so, shitting on people that racistly claim that, like, Muslims were on the rooftops celebrating.
Does Ukraine really need these additional fighter jets? President Zelensky has said that he does. I think that because of that, there has been a very real faith effort here on the part of the U.S. and Poland and other allies to figure out if they can provide them with things. But it still doesn't answer the question, do they actually need them?
No, she's not dead. She's not dead. She's fine.
NATO
they take her
allies,
out.
A number of nations have come forward and provided Ukraine with a lot of other things that they really do need. Stinger missiles, we were reporting on that last week. They have gotten hundreds of these Stinger missiles, which provide the Ukrainians with the ability to shoot down Russian aircraft that are flying overhead. But even with that, Russia has S-400s up in southern Belarus that provide them with these very advanced radars. They control large parts of the Ukrainian airspace because...
This one is so whack. Like, they put, like, USSR era books or, like, old Russian literature in there to burn those tires when Russia comes. It's like, oh, sick, dude. You got it.
And Russia still has a very advanced and strong robust ability
Just heard
with
the news
surface-to-air
then on
missiles
Sub
to
211.
shoot down manned
Savage.
Ukrainian military aircraft. So it's a confusing, it's a dynamic situation over the air right now. I mean, candidly, Katie, I don't really know why the Ukrainians would need more manned aircraft right now. It seems that of all the asks that they would have out there, that this is sort of a strange one to me, just looking at the operational picture right now. But I want to, I want to make sure that our viewers are very aware of the fact here that, yes, Poland is offering, they are saying they can send these MiGs, but that doesn't mean that the U.S. at this point has dedicated or has the ability to backfill them to actually get this process underway.